Hi. Okay, so who wants to start to passer Kavita?
Kavita, do you want to start?
Yeah, yes, I can do it. Just a second. Um, but one thing I just want to tell, like maybe will not record this particular thing because there is one more thing which yeah.
Okay, I'm moving from Argentina and I had plans and I wasn't going to accept this family first of all. My intuition was telling me this is too much. Too late to accept a home birth right now because I generally don't accept home birth clients after 32 weeks because there's a lot of intensive work to be done with a home birth family because it's mostly the mind game. And so I got into it with this doula. I liked the family. They were humble. They were like very nice people. But looking at the partner, you could sense, something is amiss with this guy. So he shared his story that he lost his younger, like two brothers in a car accident at a really young age, like late teens or something. And after that, he lost his mom and he was really traumatized and in depression for 2 years almost. And now that this and all the while he was in a relationship, and now that they are having this child, he said it's kind of bringing me back to life, etc., etc. But at that moment I didn't know he was so heavily addicted to marijuana. Because in Argentina marijuana is a common thing. It's not even considered addiction, it's everybody takes it. In Latin America that is the culture. So yeah, okay. Everybody has the plant. They had a big plant, so you make your own things. Porros they are called. So okay, fine. And but this girl was really committed that she wants an unassisted birth. She doesn't want to go to the hospital, and she doesn't have money to pay to the midwives as well. But she was determined that she could do it on her own, just with the help of the doula. So this doula got me involved because she thought, I don't know, she got some intuition that she was going to need help. And she said, we are doing all the things. You just come to the birth, come to the prenatals, come to the birth, and just be there because your presence reassures them. I don't know why. I met them and they really said, oh no, we really feel that you should be at a birth. Okay, fine. Then throughout the prenatals, we are working on her traumas and things like that. And we found out that she was abused, but she never said a word to that abuser who lives in front. So the kind of energy this girl has is not expressing, taking everything inside, being responsible for everybody, but not asking anything in return. She has always been the responsible one in the family, running the family business and doing everything, etc., etc. So we were kind of, pushing her to express yourself, assert yourself. Even to the cats, they sleep in her, her bed and she couldn't move them. We were like, kick them out. Stuff like that. Even in small things, sometimes women just don't assert their presence, their needs. And it can be very, very difficult in an intense moment like labor and birth. So this was all the background. So she was having prodromal labor for a week or so. One night she said she's having contractions 10 to 15 minutes. I sent the doula to her house and nothing. They slowed down, they ate, and everything was fine. After 3 days, no, 2 days, her partner calls me and says that she's having contractions every 10 minutes and she's feeling a lot of pressure. So I talked to her and she was fine. And I said, this is early, but we'll wait till the evening and I might come in the evening because I didn't want to travel well into the night because here they are imposing lots of restrictions on night travels, and I don't have an official license or something. So I said I'll come by the evening. So by evening I went there. She was having again 10 minutes contraction, but pretty good. I mean, she was picking up rhythm. So we're chatting, had our dinner. We put her to sleep. I also slept on the couch. As the night passed on, by 2:30 a.m., 1:30 a.m. or so, she was having again 5 to 6 minutes apart contractions, and she was saying that it's too painful. Can we try the pool? So we filled up the pool. She went in the pool. Again, contraction stopping. She comes out. So this went on for next morning. Then the next morning, me and the doula, we just went out to take breakfast, and we discussed that maybe probably we should go home. It's gonna go on for a while. So we came back and we prepared lunch for them, and we went home. She was sleeping in between contractions. The contractions were like 3, 4, 5 minutes apart, 10, 15 contractions, then slowing down, then they were like this.
How
the
far
waves.
how far do you have to travel, and how do you travel? You said the train?
2 hours train journey, like
One
1.5 hour train journey and half-hour bus journey. So that's
Still
why I
one way.
stayed, because
one way.
yeah, one way.
Yeah, okay.
So that's why I had stayed. Then we went back home and we stayed at our respective homes at night because things were the same. So we slept. The next day, again, she says, I'm having contractions every 3 to 5 minutes, and after every contractions, I'm having the need to go visit the toilet, and I want to pee and poo. And that was kind of wow. So maybe things are really progressing. So I just got there by 12 in the noon. So I thought maybe the birth would happen. It was really imminent. But she was still the same, but she was conserving her energy, eating, drinking beautifully, doing everything. When we got there, the partner was not there. She told us that they had a fight. He started packing her bags and said that you have wasted all my money on this homework, paying the doulas and birth pool and stuff, and now we are going to the hospital. And she says, no, we are not going to the hospital, get out of this house. So he just went away. We were noticing this in the previous night also. We had told him that stay with her, hug her, comfort her. And he was, every once in a while, he was going out and smoking marijuana. And he said, because he's too nervous. And we were like, what is there to be nervous? It's birth. It's all happy. And he was like, nah. And his own, like indulging in his own wounds, because we study a lot of woundology in our midwifery course. We kind of identify the patterns, that who is indulging in his own wounds to catch some attention, or because people have these psychological patterns. They never they can heal themselves, but they don't want to, stuff like that. So on the third day morning, this happened. I went. We really thought that by the night we'll have the baby. It continued. We when in the evening we chanted, we danced, we cooked her food, put her to sleep, but contractions were really every 3 to 5 minutes. I never timed contractions, but I started timing them, and they were intense. So I don't know if it was my fault that I wanted to stay, because I thought I couldn't leave her. The doula by 1 a.m. in the night, she said, it's getting too long. My kid is having some fever. She has a 1-year-old baby, and I have to go. I can't continue. And she just threw the towel. She said, my acompañamiento, ¿cómo se llama? My support,
Yes,
my support has a limit. it's been 3 nights now and I'm going home. I said, okay, fine, no problem. I'm here because I anyway couldn't travel till the trains started in the morning.
Right. Got it. Got it.
In night 3 a.m. I wanted to take hard tones because she said I was feeling some frantic movements. The baby moved very frantically twice, and that's not a good thing. Like, that's what the texts told me. I don't have hands-on experience of such a long labor. And I'm
It can
thinking,
be a good thing in as if you have a prolonged labor, sometimes it's because the baby's taking his time get in
Yeah.
position, right? And you can get, or if they're misaligned, you know, instead of coming down,
Yeah,
they're
yeah.
hitting something, and you can get them to suddenly to get in the right
Yeah,
position.
yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, that's what I thought, that baby is repositioning herself.
Yes, yes.
But I had no means to ensure apart from that mom was telling me everything was fine, no
Yeah.
problem.
Yeah.
But sometimes when you have a 3 days, 4 days long labor and you are exhausted, you kind of want to make sure on your side that baby's doing fine.
Yeah.
I would have never done that, but I tried to listen with the Doppler.
Yes,
And
I'm
everything was
interested
indeed
in that.
fine. Yeah, because I'm finding out my behavior as a care provider. I'm pretty much a chilled out midwife, let it be, everything will be fine. But when the exhaustion gets onto you, it's 3 sleepless nights, though out of them, one night I could sleep, but your brain is always thinking what is happening. So then I said, maybe if we do a cervical exam, it could give us some information. If you're dilated, or if you are dilated, why the baby is not there, or if the baby is asynclitic, or whatever. Because when you start thinking, the textbooks, you're learning everything, starts chiming. This could be the possibility, that could be the possibility. Then you message. I was constantly in touch with Gail, asking her, for some guidance. Then I really thought that a cervical check would have given me some good information. But the contractions were not letting her. She got on the bed, she spread her legs. I slowly tried to enter, but she said, no, it's too painful, I'm not doing it. She just got up. I said, we have to do it. If you want to continue at home, even, and again, I'm analyzing, why did I say that? Was it really important? But maybe it was, because in the morning she said, I'm too exhausted, I'm going to the hospital. I don't know if I want to continue with the natural thing. Maybe I'll get an epidural, I don't know. What are my options? So I explained them, these are your options. You can ask for an epidural, but first thing they will do is a cervical check. She said, okay, fine, but I'm going to the hospital because I can't continue here. And I said, even I am tired and I'm not feeling very confident to handle a complicated birth, or a tired uterus and a little more of bleeding, or a baby that might need help. Maybe this all wouldn't have happened. But do you see how your exhaustion plays on your confidence? Because otherwise at home births, I'm fully confident about handling little bit of bleeding, or I'm never worried about a flat baby. And because I work a lot with prenatally with the mom, and all these aspects of family not supporting, her partner getting absent, and she's terribly missing the company. It is coming. We are just trying to put turn a blind eye on it, that no, we are there, we are supporting her, she can sail through this. That that was there. But at a point of time, it just suddenly came out on me that maybe I'm not confident at this point, because I don't know how long it will take, how many hours more without sleep. And though we were eating, it's not the same. I have left my kids for 3 days at the mercy of my husband and the babysitter, and they are like, they were fine, but one kid was terribly missing me. Anyway, so all this also plays on your mind as a care provider, because we are human beings, and sometimes I really have empathy with doctors why why they want to control and manage labor, because it can stretch really an infinite amount of time. And this was one client, home birth client too, and that with her we do a lot of work. And look at the doctors who have various clients at various stages of labor, and doctors have their own lives. So it's kind of crazy how the system can mold your caregiving. And
Before we
so
go too
she
far, because I'm going to start forgetting my points.
yeah
One thing, or a few things, shoots, hope I didn't forget too many. One thing, you start to mention wanting to do an internal, and that she doesn't want you to touch her. She's all closing off. This can sometimes actually be something. This is resistance. So I think, okay, I have a different approach to the whole thing anyway. I don't think women are super women. I don't think any of us are. I'm sorry, I don't believe in it. I think we're all flawed.
yeah.
We're all flawed. And you know what? I'm so flawed that if you try to get me to fix my problems before I have a baby, I'm going to dig my heels in and refuse to fix any of my problems, and I'm still going to have my baby. That's how I am. You kind of describe this woman a little bit, that sounds that there are aspects of her that are similar to me. Not that I had a husband that wasn't there for me. He was there for me, but there were issues in our relationship. And, you know, much of the time we didn't actually live together for the first 10 years. We kept moving. We didn't even necessarily live in the same country, much less, even if we were in the same block, we didn't necessarily live in the same residence. And I think that's why we managed to live together for so long, stay married. But
Exactly.
yeah, but so you mentioned getting tired and all these fears entering into you. But why could they not have been intelligent questions? I personally think you put too much demand and expectation upon yourself and upon the woman, on both
Yes.
of them. You aren't going to know everything. And what you went through sounds so much like what I go through. Even though I have more experience than you, I still don't, birth to birth to birth, I still don't know. And I will never know, and you will never know. You will have these long births that you'll sit there going, what's going on? You're going to look at the woman, to me, I don't try to get down into that deep psychosis. I don't actually, it's not the time to fix things, in my opinion, labor. If you can work these things out beforehand, great. But if you can't, I still don't think you can't have a home birth. I know you can still have a baby. But you have to be willing to put it aside. But frankly, I think when push comes to shove, emotionally, women will put the crap aside. There's something else. Now, if this woman actually hasn't being resistant to touch, not wanting you to touch her. If she doesn't feel comfortable with fingers going in, she isn't going to like a baby coming out. And if this is the way she's feeling, this is what's happening,
She
right?
was closing herself. Yeah, she was closing herself a
And
lot.
often this is what I watch in labor. What are women doing during their contractions? So often you will get women who are doing this. They're getting out of here. I don't want to be here. And you have to wait, come back. And you work with them with a breath. You come back, you want to be here. Okay, you're here, you're getting them in here. Just
She was
please-
vocalizing the whole time, using her birth ball. We were
well,
using
and vocalizing
Oh,
voices. Do you want to make sure her?
Yeah.
Don't let her go up high.
no, like low moaning. Yeah.
Oh,
No,
oh,
it was
okay.
and we were vocalizing with her as well. For
So,
first
and
3 days,
again, there's
I
a
didn't do
baby, right?
anything. Yeah, because
Okay, the
I
baby
thought
has to
it's
turn.
yeah.
Mm.
So for first 3 days, I thought it's her process. It's slow. I don't have to put a time limit. I did nothing
Yep, yep.
other than just comforting word. Usually I use cauliflower, homeopathy and herbs
You did use,
and
right?
exercises. No, on the third
Yeah.
evening I started, because I thought it is long and she needs a little bit of help. So maybe cauliflower, maybe little bit of cervix
Pulsatilla
opening.
too. Pulsatilla for positioning.
Yeah. No, the thing is,
In
I
baby's
didn't
position.
get to know her that well to know her constitution and her appropriate remedies. Otherwise, I take a lot of homeopathic history, go through my books and find out what could be the remedies that could help her. I didn't have that much of prenatal time with this woman. I didn't get to know her as much as I would have liked to. But that doesn't mean she doesn't deserve support. That doesn't mean that she can't give birth. And I trust birth. And that was the process, and that's what is kind of, I'm putting the guilt on me, that why didn't I manage my time better? Why did I go so early? Why, even when I saw, oh, she has time, maybe long to go, why didn't I come back? Why did I stay and hoping that long into the night something might happen and they might need me?
I
That
think
the first day maybe they didn't. I should have come back.
well, number one, you have a long journey. You have children. You're juggling a lot of stuff. You have to give yourself a break in terms of that. That's the real deal. That's the reality. That's a long
Yeah.
trip. That's a hassle. You are a mother. You have children at home, and this woman showed an indication that she was going to deliver. You thought she might be delivering soon, right?
Yeah.
She's having these contractions. She's making these noises. You thought everything was going well, so. And again, I've done the same thing, thinking they were much further along than they were. And then after a while, you finally go in and have a look going, oh God, only 3 centimeters or something, something like this. I'm just trying to, reassure you that you're not going to get any better.
Yeah, I know. It sucks. Sometimes.
Yeah, this is the truth. I never got together.
So by the morning, on the first night itself, she was having some bloody show, and that was kind of cervix opening. That's what we see, the loss of mucus plug and etc. And she was opening, so I knew that things are moving, but I didn't know that her process was slow. Eventually I accepted that it was her process, it was slow. On the fourth day morning, uh, no, on the third morning, when I'm too tired, I'm telling her, I am tired, I need to sleep, but you can continue if you want to, because there is no indication of any risk, and it was anyway your unassisted birth. You just call me when you need me, because right now my energy is not helping in this birth space. But the problem was, the boyfriend, he just went away, he never came back. We talked to him and asked him to go her, comfort her, and he came at night, talked to her for a while, hugged her, and said sorry and stuff like that. But he said, I'm getting too nervous, I want to go to my father's place. Okay, fine, you go, we are taking care of her. Then her sister comes, she lets us sleep a while, then the sister takes care of her. So we are working as a team. We are still trying to support the mother. Mother is she's drinking, eating, and still, going through those contractions, vocalizing. By morning, she didn't have any strength left in her because it was like 3 nights without sleep. She was shaking with every contraction. She didn't have any strength to vocalize either. So she said, I need to go in. It's time. You people, what are you doing here for 3 nights? You shouldn't even be here. I should go. And we're like, no, you can continue. I can come back. I can regain my strength. It's up to you. And she said, no. So they went, and she was only 7 centimeters dilated. But wow, 7 centimeters. We did a good job.
And the
supporting her for
shaking
3 days.
could be the transition, right?
Yeah, it was. And they waited in the hospital for 12 hours. The boyfriend went there, and then he got out, and he went in, and he got out because of his nervousness or whatever. So 12 hours, she again, they gave her, I think, some cocktail of analgesics, so she could tolerate the pain. All right. But when she got to 9 centimeters, they break the bag, they see the meconium staining, and they get her to a C-section.
So it took her 12 hours to go from 7 to 9?
Yes.
Huh.
I don't know. Humanly, it was impossible for me to be there for 12 more hours. I couldn't.
Yeah.
I have to accept it. I'm not a superwoman. I'm not a super midwife who saves life. No, I'm just there to witness your process. And then they did a C-section. Now she's having a lot of trouble because she got a UTI and whatnot. She developed fever. Then they tested her for COVID. They separated the mom and baby and all the crazy stuff that is going on in the hospitals. So she's still in the hospitals, and I'm kind of blaming myself. Why didn't I manage my time better? But the thing is, if I was not there, and me and the doula, they would have gone to the hospital anyway because the partner was not supporting, and only support she had was her super nervous sister who came around, but she would have got her in 2 days. But this mom, she was determined to labor as long as it took. But you see how things crumble one after another. They just I don't know.
But when you say that things crumble, are you feeling the fact that you did something that created your mental crumbling? Does that make sense?
No, it was the physical exhaustion. Mentally, I was strong. For 3 days, I was like, fine, she's feeling the baby.
Okay, so
she's replenishing her energies. She's eating, drinking. I didn't have any reason to worry, frankly. It was the pure physical exhaustion and mental exhaustion of waiting. Okay, this might happen soon, and it's still going on and on and on. And finally, because I don't know how much dilated she is, and I'm taught that 10 centimeter dilation does not mean you're ready to push. You are not complete. There is a difference between 10 centimeter and being complete. When you're complete, the cervix is kind of pulled up over the baby's head. And 10 centimeters, sometimes your fingers can't reach beyond that, and you are not feeling both the edges of the cervix. So and I don't know where the baby's head is positioned. Does she need some extra help with rebozo, with spinning baby, so that we could get the baby in a good position? And so all these possibilities, they are playing on my mind. On the third night, at the end of the third night, in the morning, she decides to go. So I have to try at least whatever I know. I know very little. I have very little experience. But
did you
in that situation,
you did try these things?
Yes.
Okay. So
yes, we did a lot of rebozo. We did abdominal lifts. She also tried some positions. Being on all fours was not hers. Squatting was her position. So she was squatting, sitting on the ball birth stool. We did lots of things, chanting,
And she wouldn't let
visualizing.
she wouldn't let you check. And when the baby was born, any reason? Did they say any reason? Nothing was there, no
Nothing.
entanglement. They said they didn't tell you anything, or they said there was nothing.
There was no reason. Baby was fine. Baby's still fine.
So I think you need to take your own advice to Kavitha. Calm down and don't beat yourself up.
Yeah, I mean, I'm
This was a
calm.
lesson for you. This was a lesson for you.
I just observed that if you don't work on your own throughout the pregnancy, there are some things nobody can support you. If she was missing her mom who passed away 2 years back, if she was missing the support of her partner who's father of the baby but who never made himself responsible for anything, how can a doula or a midwife replace that? I don't
Actually,
understand.
okay, so that's a good question. There's a difference between a doula and a midwife. No matter how long it took, I had to stay there. I don't get to go home. I don't get to go home. I can make a discrete decision. Okay, I think it's better. And I have had to travel that distance, right? Only the big difference between what you do and what I did, I drove myself. And that's a big difference. Having control of your own wheels and your own transportation, that's your car is your tool, is one of your most important tools as a midwife, is how you get to your birth. Now,
please don't say that. I hate driving. I can't drive.
Well, in India, it's another gig. Not in India, you just have a taxi. You don't have to drive. Somebody drives you. And in fact, I would never drive in India. I'm a good driver. I can tell you I'm a good driver. I can drive at good speeds. I drive fast. I dodge kangaroos. I'm a good driver. Even my mother and my husband, in the months before he died, was finally strong enough to say, you're actually a really good driver. My husband said that. But the point being, so I can't leave. I can leave to go home with the intention of coming back, right? But I can't say, I can't do anything for you. I'm exhausted. A doula can, but I can't. So
the doula had already left.
And you're in a different situation. The primary doula left, and a doula is a different person. A midwife is a different person. So as a midwife, when I come up to this situation, I'm going to want to check that woman. I'm sorry. And in fact, I actually do not leave. I will not leave and go home without checking her, right? In my,
if she wouldn't do it, I couldn't violate her.
Sorry. Now, this is the difference between you and me. This will be the difference between you and me, and I approach it differently.
No, maybe I have to learn to be more stubborn. I don't know.
Look, I follow the mother, but we work together. I'm sorry, I'm not just a witness to a birth. I am a midwife, and when they come to me, they are seeking a midwife. This is a person who guides, who helps. I don't just support. I don't just witness. But I will speak up if I have to. So in your mother, I'm going to get to a point, and especially if I get there, and you said she was like having contractions every 3 or 5 minutes. After this is going on for hours, no, I'm checking what's going on. And the reason why I want to check at this point, what if I find out she's having these contractions every 3 to 5 minutes and she's carrying on like it's all happening? And I go in and I find out she's 3 centimeters, which is a good chance that's where she was at. I tell her, okay, let's have a talk. We talk about what's going really on in early labor, and you're going to have to blah-de, blah-de, blah, and da-de-da-de-da, what's happening for you here, yada, yada, yada. And I'm going home. I'm going to go home now. And call me, and I have a paper I hand. Call me if studies, you know, and don't, if you have any question at all, don't you hesitate to call me. You know, the worst thing I could tell you is it's all good. Don't worry about it. Otherwise, it's something I might need to talk to you about. And I'll go home and leave them alone. So I find it important to check. Now then you're telling me this woman has a response. She has a reaction. She doesn't want you to touch her. Oh, please. That tells me something. That tells me something. Why are you bothered? And I'll tell him, you got a problem with these 2 fingers. What are you going to do about that? Let me help you. Let me help you. And over antenatal care, we're getting to know each other. And that we're gaining trust. The mother is gaining trust in me. And the other thing is, you know, you kind of end up taking, like it or not, you end up being a bit of a mother sister, mother, something like this, right? They are looking at you in a motherly role. And I'm okay with that. And I look at them in a motherly way too. And as a sister too, to help them empower themselves, you can do this. So and I think she was resistant to you listening to the baby, and she was resistant to you feeling the palpating her as well. Wasn't this the case?
She never asked me to check the baby or palpate her.
Did
I
you
just did
ask?
it.
Okay.
I did ask for permission. I wanted to palpate because I was learning palpating and I wanted to practice a lot. So prenatally, we did a lot of
Okay.
palpating and listening with the fetoscope, not the Doppler. I don't like to use too much Doppler because it's not really safe. So we did all that, but during the labor, she never asked me to, can you please listen to the baby, because she was feeling the baby move fine.
I lost your voice unless you stopped talking suddenly. So all these things, palpating, all this stuff. I guess I don't feel a need to listen to the baby's heartbeat. I just do these checks, right? I do. As a midwife, I'm not even listening hourly. I might, it's been 4 or 5 hours. I better go listen. Or go and talk to the mother. I might do we lost her. Okay, but she must be coming back. And it's getting recorded. So I do take more, let's say authoritarian, although I don't like that word. I don't like to describe myself as an authority. No, I don't like that word. I'm not going to use it. You're back, but you're muted.
Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry. So had I checked, and if she was at 7 centimeters, maybe I would have stayed. I don't know. I would have stayed, of course.
Probably.
But I said, you have probably, yeah. Maybe
Yeah.
I would have, went to that doula's house and slept. I would have, managed something. My brain was not working.
Okay, listen, what also has to be part of your kit is overnight stuff. You need stuff. So you need,
I had it.
You don't drive. I would keep a mattress and a roll up in the back of my bed. When I had a van, that was good, but then that was short-lived. But I always, either they provided, they had a room for me, or you just learned to sleep on couches. And I do remember, was that you, Savarna? I remember being at somebody's birth and lying there on a couch. And this was just after I'd broken a leg too. and I just gotten, I think I was back being mobile and lying on this couch at 2 o'clock in the morning on cold Mayapur. Like, oh God, this is why I hate this, you know, I hate this bed. But but it's part, when you're young Tapasi, you can't complain like me. But yeah, sorry. But you take these things with you, take a book or knitting or crocheting, whatever your thing is, right? Take a notepad, take a sketch pad, whatever you can carry with you. Nowadays you can drag a laptop with you, I guess, and do some work. But this is what you think of. This is what is part of midwifery and part of attending home births. If you're a doula, I would think you would do, if you're being a doula at home, I think you do the same thing. And frankly, it's part of what you would do if you're supporting in a hospital as well, right? I mean, I don't know what your hospitals are like, but we do talk about that and what you would take to support yourself in a long hospital transfer. So you looking after you and what you would need is what you need to think about. That's part of your lesson for this birth. What are you going to do in a long labor? And yeah, the conundrum, this is why I do check. This is why I check. Yeah, because I can't do that. That's too frustrating. That's too frustrating to travel by train like that. No way, I'm checking, sorry. And that woman, I'm helping her. And when I find this information out, I can share it with her and she can get real. I call it a reality check. Doing internals with the reality.
Doctors do the same, but don't they say that we are helping you and
Yeah,
you? That's what we are.
No, no, my heart's different from that. You know that. You know that. You're not trying to control the birth, but honestly, I think the women, well, it's interesting. This one's saying, I'm fine, I'm fine, I'm fine. But again, with you, either you're not going to go home and you're going to stay there until it's done, or if you have to go home, then you got to check her before you leave. Okay, so look at it that way. Look at it that way. At the very least, you have to make a decision. Do I go or do I stay? And frankly, sometimes you should go. You actually need to leave them. It's in their interest that you go home. And sometimes they're kind of clingy to you and they don't want you to leave. It's in their interest for you to leave. It's how you figure out the situation. If you've got a woman carrying on and can't settle down, and she's 3 centimeters and with a thick cervix, oh my God, that you're in for hell. Anyway, this is how
that's what we did. On the second night, we just left the couple. We said, you need to work it out, guys.
But as a midwife, I can't leave.
And that night, he kind of,
without checking.
He was very irritated with her when she's moaning. He was getting nervous and very strange thing. I mean, that's not a husband would do, right?
Did you talk to him?
Yes.
What do you say? How do you counsel him?
Well, he was very indulgent in his own nervousness and trauma, and he was like, I can't stand hospitals. I can't stand the smell of blood. I am getting nervous because I'm worried for the well-being of my my girlfriend and my child. So what are you going to do? She needs your support. And he's like, I can't support her. I need to go out and I can't stay here. Okay, fine. If you feel your energy is not working in the birth space, you leave. But she's gonna miss him anyway. We were really sincerely hoping on third night that he would stay he would grab her, he would hug her, he would comfort her and tell her everything was going fine. But instead, she had to comfort him, everything is going fine, don't worry. And we were like, prenatally also, we were telling her, Melly, you should cry and he should laugh. They both were unable to do that. She was just unable of crying and expressing her grief, disappointment, whatever. And he was just unable to laugh and smile. It's very strange. It's very toxic, the relationship. That's what I can say, because I'm from a different culture. I haven't seen, this kind of thing. And like, if my husband was going smoking weed every 2 hours when I was in labor, I would divorce him. No, I don't need you.
You know, my daughter, one of my daughters, her boyfriend not only was he going out and smoking a joint regularly, he was smoking it with the doctor.
Yay. Well,
He and the doctor were outside having a joint, and they both were drinking rum.
And I thought, I wish I smoked. I would have liked something. I was so tired.
Did you actually offer her smoke? What about her having a smoke, the mother?
No, she didn't.
I
should have offered her that.
It does, it's an oxytocin. It does help with contraction.
I know.
Yeah, so it does.
I should have offered, actually.
Yeah, it depends. It depends who it is. Like, I wouldn't give it to one of my daughters. I would never give it to, because she just freaks out. But the other daughter, I would give to, especially one who was always vomiting. She would take. But yeah, so it's a medicine. It is a medicine.
Yeah, it is a medicine, indeed. I should have done that. There are so many things after birth you think you could have done this better. You could have.
Well, they always say hindsight is 20/20, right? So.
Yeah, but somehow I have to accept that I can't know everything and I can't do everything.
Well, also you won't be able to fix everything, and you're going to walk. It will always be imperfect. So I can think off the top of my head, 2 couples, okay, 3 if I include me, where there is physical abuse during the pregnancy. And, one I told you about who, we knew it. He was clobbering this woman, and the baby was breech, didn't want to turn. And then even as the baby came down, we got him birthed to the neck, and he didn't want to, he kind of got stuck, or he was stuck somewhere. And we discussed, both parents were there, and there's abuse, he's been witnessing this abuse, and the parents they didn't fix the situation. If you've got physical abuse, it's not perfect at all. And certainly at this moment in time, you can't fix this. But all the parents could do is own their shit and say, I'm really sorry, we're going to love you and we're going to try our best. Please just come, we love you. And they're talking to the baby, the parents. The father, the abuser, is talking to the baby, I'm sorry. So, and another time where the father was there, frankly, I barely remember the birth. It was a water birth, and it was quite nice. But it was an abusive relationship. And as I came back the day after to do a postnatal, she starts bolting out of the house with a bloody lip. And he had just punched her in the face. This is the day after the birth. So, nothing's perfect. And I found, you just run into some horrible situations. Maybe if it does, like I say, it just throws these amazing things at you that you don't expect. Yeah, it's raw. You just don't expect it. And you cannot fix it sometimes. You just have to do it. And this is the way I think. You just have to do it anyway. I'm sorry, you have to do it anyway. And you said something that caught me, laughter. she needed to laugh and he needed, or the other way around.
No, she needed to cry. She
She
needed to
needed
cry.
crying, he needed to laugh. You know, and I've seen this before, and I used humor sometimes you'll get a stale energy. And actually laughter for the woman, a good belly laugh is a good thing. So I do this thing. It's stupid. But anyway.
Yeah, actually we did it. We got into the circle of women and we were talking about our respective sex lives, and we laughed a lot because
Yeah,
all
that's
three
great.
laughable sex lives. Yeah. So
Laughable. You mean you have one? You've got twins and you have one. Wow.
no, I don't have
So it was a short
I have
conversation. Okay.
no, it was a long conversation because I have got a really good vibrator. Yeah, I was telling her
Imagination.
it
You
is
got
a good
lots of
thing. Yeah.
dreams. Come back. Okay.
So yeah, so it's we did try. We try what all the tricks of the trade, to get her relaxed, open.
At the end of it, what did you learn, Tapasya?
I learned, there are so many things. I learned first that always go back if you feel there is time. Don't go too early. Don't trust the call. You look at the woman and go back home. Rest.
Just question. Who called you?
Yeah.
Who called you?
The partner.
Okay. I was going to say if the father calls, oh, well, it's Argentina. In the state, or in my usual practice, if it's the father who calls, you should go.
Yeah, actually, but this father was like too nervous, too afraid to be alone with her.
So he was just nervous, just called out of nervousness.
Yeah. And I had the resources. I could have sent the doula who lived nearby. She could have gone, checked, and told me that there is time, stay home. But she and I left at the same time because I really thought, I don't know what I thought. I was really excited because I wanted to get
it over.
get it over with this birth and get on with my packing and my moving from here and stuff. So it's very complex that how your own
is sharing, like make a connection with the other doulas and take turns. So, instead of you both hanging out there, one hangs out and the other hangs out, when you get
that's what we did eventually.
Yeah, exactly. Okay.
And I learned that, okay, I accepted that long labors are a reality and they can happen, but working prenatally more intensively, not only with just the nutrition and physical activity and telling them, but mental health, looking at the family support, educating the family, because the family was texting her, your baby is going to pass meconium, you're going to have cesarean anyway, why are you continuing? I mean, she had switched off her phone, but even before the labor started, she was having these messages. She was reading them and getting nervous. So all these things, they play a lot, and a midwife's work is not easy, but she can nurture. She can nurture as best as she can. So yes, I'm going to work on my nurturing skills. Then one thing I really want to learn like perfect is doing cervical checks, but that is something I really don't like to do. So I don't know how am I going to do it, because to be perfect in it, I have to do it various times, and I really don't know.
You have to get
and I understood that, sometimes I used to think, long labors are nothing. Long labors are because the midwife or the doctor got tired, the baby was doing fine, but I got the real taste of it. Yes, it is a thing. It can happen, and you have to really make it your strategy. Those are some things I need really to work on myself. Like, make a strategy. Don't let other factors like, oh, my kids are at home, oh, this or that, because those are the excuses the system gives you for not for managing the labor, and if you are breaking out of the system, you have to hone your skills and
Yep.
work on your strategies, that how you are going to tackle these situations.
Mhm.
Then what I learned was, don't accept a family if the intuition doesn't
Right, right.
doesn't go with you. In the first place, I was thinking, why am I getting into this? And if that, like, even once that tells you, just don't get into it. Sometimes I'm not here to save the world. I can't fix everybody's problems. They are there for them to fix. And maybe this woman needed all these things, a long labor, then a transfer, then a C-section. I don't know. It's her evolution. Maybe she will understand one day that all this is not helping me. I should, get out of it and start something new. Get out of that toxic relationship that is so much dependent and that is not giving any pleasure to her. Stuff like that. And sometimes you have to learn from your trauma and the drama in life, and that is your transformation. And that's what my teacher tells me, birth is transformative. Some women really want to transform their lives through birth, but you have to understand that midwife also transforms with each birth. And if you get sucked into her transformation, you will also go through the trauma and drama, if you choose to. But you can choose to stay back and witness. And yeah, so the acceptance and the need to work on my things, those are both the things I learned. Sometimes, it's easy to criticize, or not for,
You went funny again.
yourself, as a midwife, I don't know. I have to work on myself, on my, mental sanity, stability, and uh, ability to take decisions when it's critical, and not give in to this kind of physical exhaustion or mental fears or whatever.
Mhm.
It's all these things I learned.
Does anybody have some questions for Tapasi or comments?
Oh, please ask me questions, or please tell me that
Might as well, because your mic just went off. Your sound is off. Now we can tell you things. Come on, somebody. I'm always talking. Heidi's mouth just went even tighter and Tapasi disappeared altogether. She's back. She's back.
Yeah, she's joined the
Nobody's got something to say? Okay, you can talk. Go ahead, Kathleen.
I didn't really have anything to say. I was just saying hi. I've been taking care of the kids and doing all kinds of things while I've got this playing in the background. I missed out on Kavita's story, but I heard all of Tapasia. I mean, that just sounds like really difficult, no? I mean, to have all that back and forth. I just think of when she said that the mom didn't even feel comfortable with a cervical exam. And I'm pretty sure that Tapasia is not just jam her hand in there like most doctors, And I think you're right. If 2 fingers are a problem, then something is going on in that pelvic floor. So there's a reason for that tightening. And most likely it sounds like it's trauma and stress. And she is like holding that baby in. And I think babies are really intuitive too. I mean, it doesn't sound like a very safe environment. It does not sound like a very safe environment. And I think the babies have that intuition.
What do you think of Tapasi?
So
What do you think of that?
I don't know.
Go on, Kathleen. I thought that was really
Maybe
interesting.
she's out.
Yeah, probably. But anyway, that was interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's, I mean, there's only so many things that you can do. And it sounds like she did a lot. So I don't know if there's really anything that you can go back, but just to see in retrospect, it sounds like some major trauma issues that were going on. And unfortunately, with a case like that you've taken on last minute, there's no way you can work through that prenatally so quickly, you know? I mean, that takes time. It takes a lot of time to work through trauma, and it sounds like she had a lot. And I don't know if there was anything that could have been done then maybe the C-section for enough time. Maybe it just wouldn't have come. I don't know. Anyways, I mean, I think she must have learned a lot in all of that, if anything, right?
Yeah.
But I think she did a great job. So.
Tapasya, I
But
don't
that
know.
back and forth, you know, I mean, I think it's really hard. I don't think most labors even have so much trouble in deciding when to stay and when to go either. You know what I mean? I don't think that's an everyday thing that happens. So I'm not sure there's any way to even prevent that, because it just sounds like there was just so much emotional turmoil going on at the house that there was, maybe the body was ready in some ways, or the baby was ready, but something was not in alignment. That's what it sounds like. Something was not aligned for it to just move forward. But that's all I have to say.
Tapasya, I don't know if you heard what Kathleen had said. There was one point where you were cutting out, and she was making the point about the baby, you know, as part of the process, and that the environment sounded quite hostile and toxic, as you're saying, as you're describing it. Maybe the baby's not really is resisting taking birth, you know, coming out into this environment. So I thought that was an interesting point to bring in. And I do often make mention, and don't forget, the baby is a player. He's one of the players in all this. You can't forget about him. Something else you said, but I already forgot it. Oh, you were mentioning long labors and when to stay and go. And that, frankly, it's something I come across a lot, because we seem to start timing labor from the very first little, am I in labor? So for instance, again, sorry, forgive me, Tapasya, but I did you say you didn't check her? When did you finally check her? No, she was 7 centimeters in the hospital. And I guess you didn't check her at all. But, you know, there's a very good chance she wasn't actually in labor in the very, and you know, I would actually make a statement, and many people would, she probably wasn't in labor in the beginning. In that first day or two, she probably wasn't actually in labor. And, but just niggling there's a thing they've now, you know, as Savarna was through that point out, how many stages of labor should there really be? You know, so they discuss now there's a latent phase before you actually kick into labor. There's this whole long period where the cervix is starting to thin, and it's starting, and in so doing, capillaries break, and then the whole lower segment of the uterus gets soft, and the baby's able to descend into the uterus. All these things are happening gradually. And sometimes people are feeling this is the start of labor, but it actually isn't. And in fact, usually they will now start the clock, if I can say this, not that we start a clock, but consider that you are in labor from 4 centimeters onward. If you don't check, you don't know. But this is just the discussion of long labors. Yeah, all the time I see them. The game of when to come or go, all the time it's a mystery. I've never passed the mystery test. I'm still sitting there scratching my head. Should I or shouldn't I? But I will, for me to determine, to answer that question, I will check a baby. I will check the fetal heart rate. I will check the positioning. I'll talk to the mom. I will do an internal. And I will have done an internal, and I usually find mothers wanting this, not wanting it. But if I get to a point where I think, okay, it's long, I need to know what's going on. Otherwise I'll, I need to know what to do. Should I stay or should I go? I need to check you. And this is how I do it. Yep. Anybody else? Any other questions or comments or anything?
I would like to ask you, Gail, as you were saying that sometimes you just women is just closing, or you said that you were also like that, like you like to close and you like to avoid it. So what made, I want to ask you a question, that what made you to open it, or what made you to go for it? What was that factor that helped you to open up?
Well, okay, the long labor that I had is only one child that went for 4 days. And I was in Hawaii at the time. There was a lot of family involvement. My family was hovering around. The devotees didn't stop calling. The phone rang constantly. And this isn't mobile phones that you can turn off. The phone just rang. And I was at my midwife's house, so she couldn't turn it off. And then my daughter's birthday happened, and we had a birthday party at this house in my labor. Anyway, so there was a lot of stuff that kind of make that labor drag on. That was my second one. Otherwise, you just get to a point where, okay, I'm going to do it. I think I delay things mentally because I'm busy. As a devotee, I was dressing deities, or literally, no kidding, I'm on the altar having contractions. Who does this? Or I'm cooking offerings, or I've got children, or I'm teaching a class, or I'm running a daycare center. These things are happening in the middle of my labors. So I wait I think what happens, my body starts to kick in the later evening when things are starting to settle down, or at least my mind knows we're coming to the end of business. And then my body the contractions start to happen more. And, even I remember somebody a devotee coming in, I was clearing the table and I had plates, and here comes a contraction. Put the plates down, and my head goes into a laundry basket with the pain of it. So basically I just have to, you just keep walking with kids. You just, I remember having one labor where my kids were hanging around. So I got them to, one person would rub one leg and one person would rub another leg, and one person was on the back. And I remember I had a 3-year-old in front of me, and I just grabbed her. I'm leaning on her as I'm breathing. And I'm trying, the contractions are getting stronger. And I kind of open my eyes and I notice her going, okay, I'll let you go. It's just part of life. It's just part of life. And there's a point where, okay, I can do this now. And that's what it is. And really, literally, I am walking from one place to the other. And when I'm fully dilated, that's it. And I can feel I'm building up. I'm coming close. It's getting really intense. And I know. And when I'm fully dilated, that's it. The head's out. Fully dilated, the push, bang, head is out. And I'm usually walking to the bed. And I don't get there. I tried. And I can't sit down. Can you sit down? No. I'm trying. No, I can't. And here it comes. It's just business. It's business. That's the way I see it. I did not have perfect relationships with my husband at all the times. There were great difficulties many times. Great difficulties. And I did it anyway. It's business. That's the way I see it. It's not an emotional event for me. Otherwise, I'm screwed. If I'm going to solve all my problems, I'm screwed. I'm telling you that right now. And if anybody tries to get into my head, you're going to mess me up. You're actually going to mess me up. To be honest, you start trying to go down that road, you're going to fuck me up. I'm not going to have that baby. Don't go there. That's all I can say.
Yeah, yeah. Even I find this part really very tricky to go down into the deeper layers or not.
Don't.
Sometimes it helps, but most of the times I realize that it's her work.
Yes.
You can just show her a light and maybe guide her at the most, but she has to do it. She has to go deep down and find out what is stopping her from flowing. And also part of my inexperience, I might say, because the last 8 home births I attended, everything flew, and my midwives, they just, how do they know exactly when to go? Because most of the births, we've never stayed more than 6 hours at a birth. The woman calls us in pretty active labor. We go there, we have the baby, wait for the placenta. I work on the placenta, I cook food for mom, and we leave. That's what have happened. And this was the first time, the real taste of life I got. So it was, and my Brazilian midwife who is in my cohort, she says that one of her mentors says that if you're going to stay more than 6 hours at a birth, it might happen that you might have to stay very long, because from the moment in active labor the woman calls you, you go in there. Most of the normal physiological births will take place in 6 to 8 hours after that. But if it is going to go long, it's going to go long. So you have to prepare yourself mentally for that.
And physically.
Yeah, physically. So experience, that's what I need.
You'll get it.
But I'm not giving up because it's, sometimes it sucks, I know, but it's beautiful when you see the baby. When you feel the oxytocin flowing, it's nothing can compare it to it.
But you're not in control, and you didn't control this birth. You don't have a magic wand. That's not your role.
No,
that's not your role. So you didn't. There, a little bit. You're struggling. I feel a bit of pressure on yourself and guilt on yourself, and a little bit of expectation for yourself. But really, the other births are inspiring, and they give you a backbone and give you perspective. But this other stuff is what makes you the real deal. It's when you go through the hard rocks, then you are there for women, with this experience. That's the rock that you're building for these women, and rocks are hard. The lessons in life are hard, and the harder the lesson, the bigger gift, if believe it or not, the bigger the gift. So there's a gift for you in this. You've already mentioned a few of them, and certainly it's taught you a few things to be prepared for in the future. And one day, Tapasya, very soon, you're going to be at births as a midwife. You're going to, even if you want to play doula, you're going to be a midwife. You're going to be there. You know this. You're going to get your hands dirty. You can't avoid it. If you're going to stand there, you cannot avoid it. Yeah. So let me know how your course goes.
No, the course is, so love it, my course. But the thing is, on one side, we are talking about the transformation and so many higher things. And on other, thinking about the legalities and, you know, petty stuff like petty stuff. Such a contradiction of life, you know. Birth can be so transformative for a woman and for the midwife, and to wade through so many obstacles. And wow. And I'm wondering how I would do it in India. It's so mind-boggling, but I'm not going to give up.
It's the greatest joy. It really is. It's a gift to be a midwife, to assist women in birth. It's a blessing. It's a gift. It's something to be cherished. Just keep holding on. It's wonderful. You know, you're very, very lucky. All of you, very lucky. Okay, well, again, I'm going to have to say these are 2 hours. I keep putting 1.5 hours, and it's not ever.
Yeah.
But actually, what a lovely talk today. I think they were great lessons from both of you. Thank you so much for you and your mothers and your parents and your babies. Big hugs.
Thank you for holding this space for us. Okay.
No, it's wonderful. I love it.
It's so great to unpack, you know. You just kind of try to blame yourself and constantly think what you could have done better.
You're not in control.
That's what it is about, you know, witnessing the life, birth, and death, and everything in between.
Yes. Isn't that a blessing? Isn't that amazing? It's amazing.
It scares you.
Mm. Yeah. 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 That's nature is scary, beautiful, and it's like the volcano, beautiful and terrifying at the same time. Beautiful. That's you too. That's you too. All right. Good night, ladies. Love you all. Big embraces. Stay strong. Stay strong for all of us and all our women. Night, everybody.